Welcome to Coffey Talk, real stories from real people. I'm your host, Kate Coffey-Bacon, and every Monday we'll sit down for honest conversations about successes, failures, and the lessons we learn from both. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's talk. Welcome back to Coffey Talk. Today's conversation is about innovation, but more importantly, it's about intention. I'm sitting down with someone who didn't just build a product. He built a response to a real everyday problem. Charbel Mawad is the founder of Projo, a brand that is rethinking coffee through a smarter design and real-world usability. But what drew me into this conversation wasn't the product itself. It was the thoughtfulness that's behind it. Projo wasn't created to follow a trend. It was created to solve a frustration Charbel personally experienced and couldn't ignore. Charbel, welcome to Coffey Talk. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
So I would love to tell the story of how we connected. You had your public relations agent reach out to me. I'm Coffey Talk. You have a product that is, we'll talk more about your product, but it's a coffee product. So
I'm right here.
There it is. Like it's such a perfect union. Bravo to your PR agent. I like perfect connection there. I love it so much.
Nice.
Let's take a quick pause. And before we go any deeper, can you give us a very high level snapshot of what Projo is? So just enough context so that the listeners can understand the problem you are trying to solve.
Absolutely. So Projo is a high protein coffee drink made with all natural ingredients. It's also low to no sugar, higher in caffeine than traditional coffee. It's about 2.5 times more than a regular cup of coffee in a can. So you have 25 grams of protein, 225 milligrams of caffeine. I'm drinking the zero sugar latte. We have a vanilla and a mocha latte as well. Those have 4 grams of organic cane sugar. They're also lactose free. They're made with a blend of certified grass-fed collagen, milk protein isolate, and casein. So you have a fast absorbing and a slow digesting protein. And you have a certified grass-fed collagen, which is amazing for structural support, connective tissue support, overall functional wellness. Tastes just like your favorite latte, and you don't have to, feel guilty about drinking it.
So I love all of this as a girly that tries to get 130 to 140 grams of protein every day.
Yeah.
This is it is a brilliant product for me. I will link your products to the show notes, so anybody that wants to try it out can absolutely find you. Coffey Talk is all about stories, so let's dig into the story of your product. So before Projo existed, let's start there. What was happening in your life that made this idea surface?
So this product was actually created because of my fiance, who is also my business partner and co-founder. She was not drinking coffee. It made her feel jittery. It made her anxious. She would then crash later. Coffee is deeply rooted in my culture, and I really wanted her to feel the great benefits of it and be able to enjoy it with me, not hate it. So you took my background, which is in fitness and nutrition. I used to compete as a professional natural bodybuilder. So I learned that if you combine protein with caffeine, you don't get that initial rapid cortisol spike, which is really what causes the jitters for a lot of people when they drink caffeine alone. And rather than that, you get a slower, longer release of the caffeine, and it tapers off slowly towards the end. So think of it as like a marathon and not a sprint. You're going to not feel the jitters, anxiety, you're not going to feel any of those typical side effects. And then Lisa started drinking this product that I began making for her, and she was now tolerating coffee and felt great drinking it, didn't have any issues. And that's exactly how we started.
So I love that part of the story where you were trying to bring her into your culture, into what was important for you. You gave a background in fitness. So yes, me too.
Thanks.
Love it. That is a consistent thread throughout my story and all the chapters of it. When we chatted previously, you talked about this not starting necessarily as a business idea, but
Yeah.
more of kind of a way to bring her into your world. We talked also about you seeing an open place for this product didn't necessarily
Mhm.
exist in the market. So you created it.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. In 2019, when this all was starting, protein coffee was a very foreign concept for people, and we understood I understood exactly what I was doing with this product because I knew it alleviated any side effects of typical coffee or caffeine alone, and I was working with Lisa, and most people are under eating protein and are looking for more convenient ways to find protein in their daily diet. And I just thought this was logically a very natural way to implement more protein because a lot of people drink coffee every morning, and all throughout the day. Protein is so important, as you know, in the morning, first thing. And it just felt very natural. It wasn't like one of those things where we're forcing protein into a random product. It seemed to naturally fit into people's daily habit and morning routine.
Did you initially see this as something you might build into a full business one day, or just something that you needed for yourself?
Initially, this was something that, I was just making for Lisa, and then we had our friends and peers and people at the gym that were like drinking it and buying it from us. So that it was such a small like operation where it was like an inner circle thing where just friends and family were buying and drinking the product, but they kept coming back for it. They kept wanting more, and like the word kept naturally spreading. And I think that that concept of like people wanting to pay money for something you're making is what the business really what a business really is. So it wasn't anymore like a hobby. It was more so like there's really potential here. Let's see where we can take this. People are really benefiting from this product. They're finding joy and happiness and usefulness with it.
Mhm.
And there was a gap in the market for sure with a product like this. So we thought, why not give it a better chance and see how far we can take this? So we did our first ever like pop-up table at a local gym in June of 2019. We brought about 30 bottles at the time. We were making it, in a commercial kitchen out of a blender, and we just brought these 30 bottles to the gym, and then they sold out within a couple hours. And then that was even more of a testament to what this can potentially become.
So I love when a product starts as a personal problem solving, right? That
Mhm.
usually means there's a lot more heart behind it because you
Yeah.
have a need. So you also trust that other people have a need. I think the best ideas start when that frustration meets curiosity in a way to
Mhm.
start building.
For
So
sure.
when you started creating your product, what values were an absolute non-negotiable for you?
It's the quality of the ingredients, that are going into this product. Coming from a background of fitness and nutrition, the way I looked at ingredients and products was a bit different than the mainstream consumer because I looked at them more intentionally and like they were more performance based. And I looked at the dosage and I looked at how ingredients work together, and what goes in our body is obviously like insanely important. And I now have this huge responsibility of controlling what goes in other people's body, and I wanted to do that like the most justice that I can. And I did everything I can to ensure the best possible ingredients went into this creating this product. And that's exactly why integrity is so important for us as a business and how we operate, because like we do have this huge responsibility and obligation to give people something that they deserve and they're consuming this product. So we sourced only the highest quality ingredients from all over the world, and it took many, many years to find each specific ingredient. And each ingredient has exactly its reason as to why it found its way into this product.
So you've again mentioned ease, which is, I want to tap into that a little bit more. It is the beginning of January, and every year, the beginning of January, I read Atomic Habits. If you've
Nice.
read Atomic Habits, we're talking about a 1% change every day. We're not
Yeah.
talking about groundbreaking, huge things outside of what is consistent for you. That is how you start to create obtainable habits that lead to met goals.
Right.
So one of the things that's taught in Atomic Habits is creating that ease
Okay.
instead of saying, I'm not going to do this, that, and the third. I'm going to do this instead.
Mhm.
Making that goal or that that, we'll call it a resolution. I personally don't set resolutions, but a lot of people
Yeah.
do. And so making that resolution obtainable. And so you've
Yes.
created a product
Yep.
that meets all of these needs, that checks all of these boxes, that is a simple replacement for something that people are already doing, right?
Correct.
People are already having their cup of coffee. I have mine in my hand right
There
now.
you go.
I mean, people are already, they're already in that habit. I would reach for Projo. I have reached for Projo. I ordered your product. I love your product.
Thank you.
So it is easy to put this into a habit or a pattern that you already have. So you have mastered that ease, because you're right. The coffee is already there. We have several protein drinks that we know and trust. When we see them on a shelf, we grab it. I can't wait to see Projo in every grocery store across the country. I'm manifesting that for you. I know that it's coming because you have created a stand above all product, truly. The ingredients are clean. It's easily digestible. You don't get that crash, all of those things. So I am echoing everything that you're saying from experience. I've seen it.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's transition a little bit and talk about innovation.
Yes.
So a lot of times with innovation, right, we kind of, at my company, we have this culture fundamental that's act like kindergartners. And that just means we get in there and we just start throwing things against the wall until something sticks, right?
Yeah.
Acting without reservation is kind of our idea around innovation.
Yes.
How did you decide with your product where to stop instead of continuing to add?
That's a fantastic question. I don't think I've been asked that, actually, but it is something I've considered, and we've noticed that a lot of times innovation is thought of like, how much more can you do to something? Like, you're adding all these things into like a product and all these different ingredients, and it has to have all these different kinds of numbers, and like, it's just like more. So I think we knew exactly where we needed to stop when it comes to more and what ingredients are going in this. And I have to say the same about actually the branding. If you look at what the can is, it tells you in 2 seconds, you'll know exactly what it is. It's coffee. It's a latte. The protein and the caffeine, the most important parts, are right there. And it's simple. So we're not throwing all these like crazy designs and colors, like all these different numbers and claims and everything. It's just like, it's right to the point. And we knew where we wanted more was more protein and more caffeine and like better ingredients. So we knew that like we can stop once we've achieved the goal of the best combination of protein. We call it our dual phase protein system. We wanted a fast acting, a slow acting protein, and then the collagen for the structural support. So that combination allowed us to stop. We knew if we just did one source of protein, like a whey protein, something just very generic, we found out actually a lot of people cannot consume whey. It contains lactose. It's hard to digest. Lisa's actually has some kind of sensitivity to it, where her stomach churns and whines whenever she consumes whey. So we found a lot of people actually have that issue. So we knew no whey protein in this product. So it's, the sources of protein were very important and very intentional. So I use the word intentional because there's a reason why each specific kind of protein was in there. There's a reason why we have the caffeine sources coming from coffee alone and not a synthetic caffeine, or not like an added type of caffeine powder. It's just from coffee and coffee fruit. So we maximized exactly where we needed to, and that was with the protein and the caffeine sources. And we knew like anything extra, people didn't really need it. Like, they didn't really need that, at least in this product. When we talk about all these different functional benefits or ingredients and all that, we thought we can perfect a protein coffee and give people exactly what they're wanting and what they're needing. And then we don't need to overcomplicate things.
Yeah. So I know you've gotten a lot of feedback. I just gave you some from my personal experience. What feedback that you've received has surprised you once they started using Projo in their everyday routines?
Yeah, no, there absolutely has been. My favorite like feedback was, if coffee tasted this good, I would drink it more often. Multiple people have said that. We have a lot of customers that were not coffee drinkers at all, or used to drink coffee, left the category, and came back because of Projo. And that feedback is huge because it tells us that this product is applying to such a vast audience, and it's not limiting us to only a certain type of, let's say you're only like a coffee fanatic, or it widens up the door for us. And that is because, we find out why people were not drinking coffee or stopped. And then this product is solving those issues for them. The taste is also insanely important. People love how it tastes. And then the protein benefit. So they're able to get the protein, a great taste, great macros, and energy in one product. They almost see it like, why do we need to go back to any other product that we were drinking before when everything is right here that we're looking for?
Right. So while your product is highly innovative, your story as a whole feels a whole lot less to me like chasing innovation and more like really, truly listening closely to what people need and
Yes.
reaching out and using that innovation to meet that need. You talked about the feedback being, if coffee tasted this good, I would be drinking coffee. If,
Yeah.
making it better and better and better. So you're listening to the things that people need and you're meeting that need.
Yes.
Here's a big question for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
What does success, right?
Mhm.
Success is such a big word, like capital letters. What does success look like for you beyond those sales numbers?
Yeah, I think success for us looks like Projo being in every grocery store in the country. And then we're just seeing all different kinds of people benefiting like from the product that that started in my kitchen, just like something that's going nationwide, and then eventually we're going international and just take this power coffee can will eventually take over the world, hopefully. But the success, I think, comes from seeing people enjoy this product all over the place, like all over the world, and then being able to create a positive impact in the lives of others, through the product directly, enjoy, having them benefit from it and feel great and feel energized and all that. But also through that success, as an impact driven business, we want to give back and be able to like help out different communities locally and globally, and provide resources to those communities. And for us, nutrition and energy is at the core of what we do, and we believe when people feel energized and healthy, they're able to achieve their goals a lot easier. So that's ultimately, on a grand vision, what success looks like for us.
I love that. There is an energy drink that is marketed and sold under lots of different kinds of fruity flavors. I won't say the name of it. I'd much rather see your product replaced with that, because you're talking about ingredients that are holistic, they're pure, and you're making a real difference. So again,
Thank you.
I'm hoping for that and manifesting that for you.
Thank
So
you.
let's dig in a little bit to the lessons that have come from being a business owner and an innovator. What's something you believed at the start of this entrepreneurial journey that you've since had to unlearn?
I believe things happen quick, and that's been a huge
20
lesson. Yeah. I thought results would happen faster, but then when you're building a brand and a company, you can get humbled very easily and very quickly, which I have. And I've learned that great things take time, as the saying goes, and that's very true. I've learned that you have to adapt and adjust and be very nimble and be very like willing to pivot quickly. You can't just be so fixated on something. That was like a big lesson early on, being more like open-minded, putting pride aside, less stubborn. I learned that what you're making, essentially only the customer matters the most. Like you're making a product for people that, like, if you walk into a grocery store, like walk down the street, or you're driving, like everyone around you is like a potential customer. And like that's who matters. And that outside voices aren't really as important as the voices of the consumer that's paying money for your drink or your product. So that's why we're so customer forward in our innovation and what we're creating and building, and how this product was made was all through the consumer feedback. So I learned that you have to listen very closely to the customer. And that is still why, after all these years, I'm still personally doing demos and I'm at trade shows and I'm listening to consumers and just seeing and hearing the difference in how consumers' habits and behaviors have changed since 2019 to now, has been like very like enlightening and like very reassuring. And it's all great data and feedback as to how we can continue improving and like staying very like relevant in terms of our product offerings and how we can retain loyal customers. That all of that like comes from listening to your customer. I think that's one of the biggest lessons.
Yeah. So it sounds like this evolution of Projo has done more than that original question, which is what if you had to unlearn? You have deeply learned patience, listening, leaning into the needs of your audience.
Yeah.
That's a lot of personal growth that has come with your product growth. So bravo for truly listening, actively listening, leaning into the needs of your target and meeting them.
Thank you.
Let's do a rapid fire.
Nice. I love these.
Okay, rapid fire.
Okay.
Or knee-jerk answers, and this is fast. Okay? All right.
Sure.
Rapid fire. Question 1. One lesson you didn't expect to learn.
Great things take time.
One belief you had to let go of.
That you know everything.
One piece of advice for a builder or an entrepreneur that may be stuck in the idea phase.
Just put your thoughts to use immediately and just put something out there as fast as possible.
Fantastic. How can the listener get in touch with you or find out more information about Projo?
You can add me on LinkedIn, Charbel Mawad. You can email me, charbel@idrinkprojo.com. And then our Instagram for Projo is @drinkprojo. You can visit our website as well, www.idrinkprojo.com.
Wonderful. I will put links to all of these ways to find you in the show notes. Charbel, you are very engaged on LinkedIn, so reach out to him. He will engage with you and have conversations with you and support you in what you're doing. He's certainly supporting me in everything that I'm doing, so I do appreciate that. I always get a little like smile on my face when I see a piece of engagement between us. Charbel, this conversation for me keeps coming back to one big idea, and that is when you really pay attention to the things that matter, the things that may be frustrating you, and be the change you want to see in the world, right? You may be, in fact, sitting on an idea of something that may be meaningful. So, wow, this is a big charge to us to look kind of inward and think, if there's something, how can I be that change? How can I create a service, a product, something that will truly move the needle forward? Projo isn't just a product. It's proof that thoughtful design starts with truly listening. The best products and ideas don't just start with features. They start with awareness, with empathy, and true courage to say, I can make this better. So if you're listening and something in your daily life keeps nudging you, don't ignore it. Maybe ask why. Until next time, keep building what makes life better and keep pouring into what matters. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Thank you for joining us today on Coffey Talk. A special thanks to my guests for sharing their story and to you, the listener, for being a part of this conversation. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a Monday morning chat. Until next time, I'm Kate Coffey-Bacon, and this has been Coffey Talk.